What's up, YouTube? Today we're here to talk about extending your lease. Are you in a 3 or 2 year lease that's about up? Did the maturity date sneak up on you? It happens. Are you finding it hard to get a new car due to inventory shortage in the current used car market? If any of those things are applying to you and you think, hey, maybe I just want to keep the car I'm in, keep leasing it so I can keep shopping or do whatever I need to do, I personally think that's a great option. Hey guys, my name's Adam. I'm the lease expert. I have been working in leasing for about 10 years on the finance side. I don't work for the dealership. I fully understand lease contracts, and I have a perspective that I think I can help you wade through some of the confusion, give you some information you might not know, and just help guide you through any process you might be having to do with a lease. So let's get into it. So like I said before, a lease extension is something that may be a great option for you, but there's a few things I think you need to know. I got 5 important points to consider before you go in and extend your lease. So let's get into it. So point number 1, are you eligible to extend your lease? So first thing you need to know is, does your leasing company offer an extension program? A lot of times it's not going to be advertised because they want you to go and get a new car. So they're not going to make keeping the car you're in the most easy or attractive option, but it's usually there for customers who need to keep shopping. Like leasing companies and dealers don't want to lose you or your business due to either a shortage, due to a personal situation where you're just not ready to make that decision. So you just need to call and ask, do you guys offer lease extensions? That's number 1. And in so asking, you also have to understand that you as a customer have a history with the contract you're in, and some of the qualifications, even if they do offer a lease extension, may have to come down to your payment history. So if you haven't been paying on time, if they had to repossess you at any point during the contract, it may be available, but you personally may not qualify. So it's definitely better to have your account in good standing. It doesn't mean you can't have a few blemishes. Life happens, things do happen, so the company may give a little bit of leeway, but I would recommend paying your past due balances, being up to date and current when you're requesting more time, right? So that's number 1. Just find out, are you eligible? Does the company offer it? So that's step 1. Step number 2, important thing to know, is lease contracts a lot of times are only set up to be 3 years and then done. And there's a lot of things that dealers offer when you're first entering into the lease agreement that some customers choose to add into their payment. That would be vehicle service contracts, all those little packages the dealership wants to sell you at the beginning, and it sounds good, and extended warranties even, or if you wanted to put rims on the car, add-ons, anything extra that you paid on the car to be added in at the beginning of the contract is typically capitalized into the price of the car. And then what you're doing is paying it back over the 3-year term of your lease. So when you get to the end of the 3 years, you've now paid back for those extras you've added in, you give the car back, everyone's even. The problem now lies when you go to an extension is those packages. Let's say you had a 3-year service agreement. Well, if you're extending your lease for a 4th year or another 6 months or another few months, that cost is already built into your payment. The leasing company is not likely going to change or lower your payment. You pretty much have to pay the same payment with things that are built in that have expired. So I, as a leasing expert, do not recommend adding in things into the lease payment. I'll make a whole video about that if you guys have more questions. But that's the number 2 thing to know. If you have add-ins on your original contract and you choose to extend, you possibly could keep paying for add-ins that you no longer get because they've actually expired, but it's built into the payment and you can't change the contract. So that's number 2. Did you have any add-ins? So number 3, are you already over your mile limit? So on a lease, we all know you have to stay under a certain amount of miles. It's usually 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, even 20,000, depending upon your driving habits, what kind of contract you entered into. Just check the terms of your original agreement. And the thing about an extension, when you do it, is the company will likely give you additional mileage on the extension term. So let's say you do a 6-month extension or a 1-year extension or whatever it is. The mileage on the original contract per month you should get on the extension. Now check with your company. It's not always 100%, but you should get extra miles. Now the thing is, if you're already over the original mile limit, you're now extending the lease for additional time. The extra miles you're going to get are not going to save you from your over miles, right? Because you're going to keep driving the car the same you were before. And so really the only way to recoup over miles is just to park it. Park it in your driveway, make the payment, and then don't drive anymore. But that doesn't make any sense, right? You need the car. The point of having the car is getting you from place to place. You can't just pay for a car and not use it. So if your intention is to extend is, oh God, I'm over miles, I don't want to turn it in, I don't want to get the mileage penalty now, I'll just put it off. Well, you're just going to dig yourself a deeper and deeper hole. So a lease extension when you're already over miles is not advisable. Now, there is a difference between slightly over miles and significantly over miles. I have a bunch of strategies on how to deal with being somewhat over miles. There's a lot of forgiveness programs out there. Most of these companies want to keep you, and they'll help you out if you're a loyal customer. So I'm gonna make a whole video about that. So if you're over miles, don't worry, all is not lost. But if you're already, significantly over, extending the lease isn't gonna solve that problem. You're just gonna keep going with more miles, and that over just gonna increase. So that's number 3. Number 4 are things that can expire. So most car manufacturers have a factory warranty. It could be 3 years, it could be 4 years. It depends on the car you're in. So check with your manufacturer. But if you're in a 3-year lease that has a 3-year manufacturer's warranty and you extend that lease beyond the original 3 years, well, then you're out of warranty. Now, extended warranties are things you can buy. And me personally, the cars I choose are good cars. I take care of them. If I was extending my lease, I probably wouldn't buy an extended warranty. It's just kind of extra waste of money. Hopefully that car won't have any problems. But that's something you should be aware of. So that's one of the reasons why you do lease, is that you always want to have a new car with a fresh warranty. So if you're extending outside of the factory warranty, that's a risk. So that's something you need to know if you're going to be extending your lease. Another thing that can expire is the registration. Now, depending upon what state you live in, your leasing company may or may not just do the renewal for you. It may get forwarded to you in the mail, or you may get nothing, and the leasing company may get nothing. So you've now extended your lease and your registration's up next month. You need to take action. You need to contact the leasing company, find out what you need from them to renew it. Do you have like a renewal notice? Is there a PIN number? Can you go online? Do you need to go to the DMV with the power of attorney? You just need to be on top of, do I need to renew my registration, and what's the process to do that? So definitely just talk to your leasing company. Now, one of the downsides of that is your state may not prorate. So like if you're using the extension just for a month or two to keep shopping, which is a really common thing, especially right now with the shortage in the cars, they're probably pushing them more to like 6 months. You may have to pay for an entire year of registration, and if you don't lease the car for the whole year, well, that money's just gone. I don't think the state's going to give you any refund unless they do some kind of prorate. You can check, but the leasing company itself probably isn't going to do much there because they didn't charge you it. It's the state fee. You have to pay it. Everyone who drives a car has to. So if your registration is expiring, you have to renew it, then that could be some money extra spent there too. So that's just another thing to know, number 4. And number 5, the 5th thing I think is important to know if you're thinking about extending your lease, is lease extension is not a lease to own situation. So if you are wanting to own the car, buy it. Now, the lease extension should continue to pay down the purchase price. Like every month you get depreciation, they take out their rent, they take out the tax, whatever else is built in, and then you get your monthly depreciation. So if you do another year on the lease or 6 months, it should pay it down appropriately for each of those extra payments. But it'll never pay it down to zero, right? A leasing company won't let you lease a car until you own it. Not very usually, because that would take 6, 7, 8 years at the current payment. And you can't come back with the car 6, 7 years later and go, oh, never mind, I'm just going to turn it into you with 150,000 miles on it. The dealer doesn't want that car back. So there becomes an age of the car where you got to buy it. So lease extension isn't really a vehicle to owning the car. It's more of just to buy yourself time to either make that decision, to get your financing together, and then just pull the trigger on purchasing. So an extension is more of just a stopgap. It's not the end decision. You're never going to own the car at the end of the extension. It's just to give you more time to decide. And I'm going to talk and make more videos all about financing a lease turn-in, what's the best way to do it. Like I said before, my name's Adam. I'm a leasing expert. Hopefully these 5 little things to think about if you were going to be extending your lease will help you. I'm going to be putting a lot more content out about my area of expertise, which is leasing, which is lease contracts, from the perspective of the finance company or the leasing company, not the dealership. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you. So please follow along, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll be back for more. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.